Sorry about the dead air. As you can see, this is a professional cast.
Well, I could probably, yeah. So obviously a very good match. I mentioned before that Platinum, a very very competitive, and you guys showed it there too. Not only was it a close match, but it was a close match in the sense that it went back and forth. I'm trying to remember if there was a 2-game lead at any point in that match. Was there, or was it just punch counter punch the whole way?
I think it was just punch counter punch.
Yeah, and those are the best kind of matches. You say a match is close, but is it really close if it's 4-0 followed by 4-4? That's very dramatic, but you don't always think of that as close because sometimes the individual games don't feel very close. But we had the sort of the platonic ideal of a close match, which is not only is the final score close, but it's close the entire time, and the individual games were close too. Some of them were very close to going the other way. So a close match in every sense of the word, rather than just the final tally.
Yeah, absolutely. So now I have the week 2 results up. I don't know if you want to help out track or if.
Yeah. So I guess we'll just go from top to bottom, left to right there. The match we didn't end up casting, Crazy Kaylee against Magician 1099 or 1099. I don't know how he says it. Whatever. 1099. A rematch of last year's dramatic final right off the bat here early in season 3. Kaylee wins 5-3. So obviously it's a 2-game lead and everything, but 5-3, you still call that a close match. It's only 8 games, so anything beyond 5-0 or 5-1 is pretty much a close match. So Kaylee improves to 2-0. Second match in Diamond, Kletos beats KCM 5-2. I just said 5-2, kind of the threshold for not a close match. So very impressive there. Obviously, KCM, one of the best players, but Kletos forced his way into Diamond after winning Platinum last season, and he's acquitted himself very well early on. Big win there. And the final match from Diamond, Canadian Bacon up against Bloom. Bloom wins 5-3. Very good in part because, well, let's see here. If I'm reading this correctly, yeah, that's 2 wins for Bloom in 2 matches already. You might remember Bloom kind of came onto the scene 2 seasons ago in the first SCL season, kind of made that jump from pretty good player to elite player, surprised a lot of people, but then took a step back last season, and now we see himself reestablishing himself already with 2 quick wins. Both he and Kaylee 2-0 on the year. Someone else want to run through some of the other ones too? I don't. Don't leave it all for me.
Varanos, I can't say it. Versus John Onwards yet to be played. I know Varanos has been out of town. Warren Track versus Sharper. You win 5-1.
Yay!
And not much to say there. We just saw Cameraman versus Slappy Davis. Going to gold. Royal Flush versus Scallion. Scallions wins. Scallion's, of course, a really fun player to play against. I hope he managed to get some orange stress strats out in this game. Elvis Snake versus Piers. Piers, of course, is an amazing player, just absolutely phenomenal. He came within a hair's breadth of winning Platinum last year. It came down to a few ties, and so it's good to see that he's continuing to win here.
Yeah, 3-way tie at the top of gold and just missed out on the final match, and now he's 2-0, and I think he could hold his own in Platinum too, looking very strong in gold. He is the gold player to beat.
James versus Fearful Ferret. Fearful Ferret, the gaming god, winning 5-1. Hasn't been as rusty as he feared.
Yeah, big win there. Obviously, he has stomped through everyone in the first 2 seasons, and I think a lot of people thought this is where he's going to start to meet some real resistance up around gold, and he lost his first match, if I remember correctly. So I kind of wondered, has he risen as far as he can rise right now after that meteoric rise before? But a really convincing win here against James. Maybe he found his footing already.
In silver, Wodar versus Snurf. Wodar winning 5-3, banning nothing as is his.
I do like to say, actually, this was actually really interesting in that if you look at how we won the games, I won all the games on the maps I chose, and he won most of the games on the maps he chose.
There we go. So you chose well.
It's really unique because you usually see snipers just winning all the way through until there's one spy win, and that's usually the deciding game.
Yeah, very interesting.
But with Signup, we were able to choose the maps that we knew that we could win both ways.
There you go. Counter pick against those two whenever you can, because it really matters.
Mm-hmm. Now we have
I'll just continue because I am the silver representative here. We have Ponoob against Tidui. Ponoob winning 5-1. But I still really fear going against Tidui because Tidui is a really good player, and for some reason he just knows me. and he just
I know.
knows how
I
to
know the
shoot
feeling.
it.
Yeah, I've played Teetery a couple times, and I've got the same thing, Wodar. He matches up well with a number of players, you and me included.
And then finally, Falconet against Checker. Falconet wins, even though the match hasn't been played yet. I can tell you it's going to be 5-2. Checker gets two close games, and just pulls it out as Sniper. But he's going to lose every spy game.
I can tell you. I can tell you. It will happen in week 10 when Checker plays all 10 of his matches.
It's so cruel, but it's so true. Checker, if you're watching the VODs, play them. Come on, Checker. Play your game.
If you split it up into 4 instead of 1, that's okay. You can do it 2 or 3 at a time, but let's stop at 3. Yeah.
So into bronze, Uran versus Tarp Shack. Decisive victory by Uran, 5-0.
Doesn't get better than that.
Good for your end.
JYATY versus Yeesh. JYATY wins 5 of 2. I'm not going to keep spelling that out.
No. That's not worth it.
Sorry, Giatti. Against Yeesh, who's a very strong player. Giatti's one of the more dark horses, if I recall.
Yeah, that's fair to say. He's 2-1 now in his first 3 matches, in second in bronze. And Yeesh 0-2 though, definitely underperforming a little bit. Lost both of his matches 5-2, but he's played against Iran. Tough competition. Might have a little more luck with some of his other matches.
Agreed.
Catnip versus Seabot. Oh, sorry. Keep going.
Yeah, and then we watched this game at the beginning, Catnip against Seabot. Really exciting. Overtime usually is, even though it's a really weird format for overtime.
It makes some exciting matches. I like that.
On to Copper. Want to talk about that, cameraman?
Yeah, Bittersweet versus G-Mat Sang. G-Mat Sang wins 5-1.
He's undefeated. He has a win and a draw, so not a perfect record, but no losses either.
2 uncompleted games in Copper. Nathan Yellis versus Trevor, and TGE versus Programming with Ed. Programming with Pro Gaming with Ed. I know Ed.
Don't make people mad.
I know Ed was in the chat earlier. Come on, Ed, play those games. Going down to Iron, we saw ML versus Steph, and still 2 more games yet to be played. Come on, guys, get on it. Same with Challenger, 2 games we still haven't seen. The one that we did have was 4 Liberties versus Quicklime. 4 Liberties winning 5-3.
And Challenger looks like it could be a big old jumble still.
Yeah,
definitely.
I just hope they play their games. This is the only problem with Challenger. I definitely want to cast some Challenger games. We might see some next week if they get on that.
Honestly, if you're being honest, the most fun games to cast are the highest levels and the lowest levels. There can all be pretty fun one way or the other, but well, seriously, obviously high level excellent play is just interesting in and of itself. You like the strategy, you like the Yomi. On the lowest levels, you get more mistakes, but you also get people getting away with it. So you see different strategies. The problem with some of these mid-level games, they're very good, but they tend to fall into familiar patterns very often. So you can guess what's going to happen more and more often. They follow a bit of a formula, but you don't see that as much as the high level play because people like to mix it up, and you don't see it at all at the bottom.
Definitely. And talking about that, I have a small spoiler for next week. We are definitely going to be casting Steph against Baldric.
All right. Yeah, there we go.
I'm not going to say anything, but it is an intense game. And as we know, Steph was predicted to be number 1 by every single person that I questioned. So this is going to be fun watching Steph win this.
Yeah, even not knowing anything about that match going into it, Steph is 1-1 going into it, and Baldric's 2-0. So it's already seeming like while Steph was the preseason favorite there, Baldric making a strong case to be considered for it. You can easily imagine them going, toe to toe all year.
Definitely.
Yeah, and the season's just begun. We have however many weeks we have left. 8
more weeks.
8 more weeks to go. A lot more exciting.
And then the 9th for the championship matches, and that's not counting whatever makeups we get along the way.
Oh yeah, this is going to be a fun season.
All right, I'm off. Thank you so much for having me, guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming out. So yeah, that's going to conclude the Week 2 SpyParty cast. Play your games if you haven't, and thanks for coming out.